the wanderer of the sky isles. The night sky stretched endlessly above her, wide, open, quiet. It felt less like a ceiling and more like an invitation. Dark blue faded into velvet black, layered softly as though the sky itself had been wrapped in cloth. Stars were scattered across it, not sharp or distant, but gentle. They glowed faintly, pulsing almost imperceptibly, as if they were breathing in time with the world below. Thin clouds drifted slowly through the sky. They did not rush. They did not hesitate. They simply moved, sliding past one another without effort or sound. The wind was present, but careful. It touched her skin lightly, cool and reassuring, like a reminder that she was awake and yet already close to rest. Carried within it was the distant scent of rain, rain that had fallen earlier, or rain that had not yet arrived. It came from mountains far below, from a world hidden beneath layers of cloud and height. She stood at the edge of a narrow bridge of clouds. The bridge curved gently forward, its far end dissolving into mist. There were no rails, no markings, only the soft certainty that it would hold her. She lowered her gaze. Her toes brushed the surface beneath her feet. It was cool, yielding, like standing on breath itself. The cloud did not break. It did not sink. It responded. Ahead of her, the sky isles floated in the twilight air. They hovered quietly, each one resting in its own place, suspended without visible support. No ropes, no anchors, just balance. Each island carried its own glow. Lanterns shimmered softly, as if stars had drifted downward and chosen to stay. Flowers emitted light from their petals, colors muted and warm. Between the trees, tiny magical creatures moved slowly. They left faint trails of glow behind them, which faded almost as soon as they appeared, like thoughts that passed gently through the mind without asking to be kept. Nothing here called for attention. Nothing competed. She breathed in, then out. Slowly she stepped forward. Her weight settled onto the cloud path. The surface rippled beneath her foot, responding the way calm water responds to a falling leaf. The sensation surprised her, but only for a moment. It made her heart feel light, yet steady, as though she were being supported by something patient. She took another step, then another. With each movement, she became aware of a sound. At first, she thought it was the wind, but it was deeper than that. A low hum. It did not come from one place. It came from everywhere at once, from the islands, from the clouds beneath her feet, from the open space between the stars. It was not music, it was presence, the sound of life continuing quietly, without effort, without urgency. She listened. Her breathing slowed, her shoulders softened. She realized then that she had no destination, no island she needed to reach, no path she was required to follow, only curiosity and a gentle willingness to see what each island might offer if she arrived without hurry. Ahead, the nearest island waited, small, green, glowing faintly at its edges, and she walked toward it, step by careful step, supported by clouds, carried by quiet trust, moving deeper into the sky. As she drew closer, the small island revealed itself more clearly. Its edges were soft, not sharply defined, as though the air itself was gently holding it in place. When her foot touched solid ground, the cloud path faded behind her, quietly, without farewell. The island felt warm beneath her feet, not hot, not cold, simply alive. Soft grass covered the ground, each blade bending slightly as if acknowledging her presence. When she knelt and touched it, it felt cool and smooth, carrying faint traces of dew. The grass shimmered gently, catching the twilight light, never sparkling too brightly, never demanding to be noticed. Ahead, a village rested quietly. Tiny cottages leaned gently toward one another, their windows glowing with a soft inner light. No smoke rose from chimneys, no doors creaked. Everything here seemed to move at the pace of breath. Flowering trees arched over narrow paths, their blossoms glowing in shades of blue and violet. Petals drifted slowly downward, turning lazily as they fell, as though unsure whether they wanted to reach the ground at all. Lanterns hung from curved branches, their light pooled softly on the paths below, creating small islands of warmth within the larger island of sky. She walked slowly. There was no reason to hurry. Her footsteps made no sound, but she felt them nonetheless. The gentle rhythm of movement, the quiet conversation between body and ground. She let her fingers trail through the grass as she passed. The sensation grounded her, drawing her attention fully into the moment. Near the center of the village, she noticed a small bench. A child sat there quietly. The child's legs did not reach the ground. A notebook rested on their knees. A pencil moved across the page in slow, thoughtful strokes. The child did not look up immediately. They were focused, present. She paused, not wanting to interrupt. Only when the pencil stopped moving did the child lift their gaze. Their eyes met. The child smiled. It was an easy smile, unforced, as though smiling were simply the most natural thing to do. She returned the smile, feeling warmth rise gently in her chest. No words passed between them. None were needed. In that silence, she felt an understanding settle quietly within her. That small acts, drawing, observing, smiling, carry a kind of magic that asks for nothing in return. The child returned to the notebook. The pencil resumed its slow movement. She sat down nearby, lowering herself onto the grass. It welcomed her weight without resistance. A breeze passed through the village. It carried the scent of jasmine, mixed with the clean freshness of rain. She inhaled slowly. The air felt cool in her lungs, then warm as she exhaled. Lantern light reflected softly on her hands, painting her skin in gentle shades of gold and lavender. She noticed how the light shifted with every small movement she made, how even stillness had texture here. The hum of the island made itself known again, subtle, steady. It did not distract her thoughts, it softened them. She realized that this island was small, yet nothing about it felt incomplete. Every cottage, every tree, every path seemed to belong exactly where it was. And she thought, perhaps wholeness is not about having more, but about being fully present with what already exists. She stayed there for a while. Time did not announce itself. It simply moved. Eventually, she stood again. The child did not look up this time, but she sensed their quiet awareness, a shared understanding that goodbyes were unnecessary here. At the edge of the island, the cloud path returned. It waited calmly, unchanged. She stepped onto it, and the village behind her remained softly glowing, complete without her. The path curved onward, leading her gently back into the open sky, toward the next island. Waiting ahead, the cloud path carried her onward, curving slowly through open air. Below her, layers of clouds drifted like a sleeping sea. Above her, the stars seemed closer now, their light softened by distance and mist. The next island appeared gradually. At first, it was only a darker shape against the sky. Then texture emerged, depth. As she drew nearer, she could see trees rising from its surface, tall, close together, a forest. When she stepped off the cloud path, the air changed immediately. It felt cooler here, damp, rich with life. The ground beneath her feet was firm, covered in fallen leaves that muffled every step. They shifted softly, as if trying not to disturb the quiet. Above her, branches intertwined, forming a canopy that filtered the starlight into scattered patterns of glow. Leaves shimmered faintly, lit by something unseen, not bright, just enough. She walked slowly between the trees. The forest felt aware of her, but not cautious, more like curious. She reached out and brushed her fingers along a leaf. A gentle vibration met her touch. It was subtle, but unmistakable, as though the leaf had felt her too. She smiled faintly and let her hand fall back to her side. Small, glowing birds perched on nearby branches. Their feathers held soft light, pulsing gently as they breathed. They watched her calmly. They did not fly away. Their presence felt like permission. The forest whispered, not in language, but in sensation, patience. She paused. She felt her breath deepen on its own, as though her body understood what was being asked of it. Presence. She closed her eyes. The forest continued to exist around her, unchanged, unbothered. She listened. Beneath the quiet, she sensed a rhythm, slow, steady, the heartbeat of the island itself. She placed her hand on the ground and felt it more clearly. There was no urgency in it, no striving, only continuation. She understood then that every place moves at its own pace, every being carries its own rhythm, and that peace does not come from matching those rhythms, but from allowing them to be. When she opened her eyes again, gratitude rested quietly within her. She continued walking deeper into the forest. The light shifted as she moved, sometimes cooler, sometimes warmer. She noticed how shadows here were not empty, but full of soft detail. Nothing felt hidden, nothing felt threatening. Eventually, the trees began to thin. Ahead, she heard water. At first, it was only a suggestion, a low, continuous presence. Then it became clearer, a waterfall. The forest opened onto the edge of the island. Water spilled gently over the side, pouring into the clouds below. Not crashing, not rushing, flowing. The water caught the light of the stars and broke it apart, creating faint rainbows that shifted with every movement. She knelt at the edge. Mist rose to meet her hands, cool against her skin. She let her fingers pass through the spray. Each droplet shimmered briefly before vanishing into the air, as if it had completed exactly what it was meant to do. A low hum rose from the water, vibrating gently in her chest. It was deeper here, more resonant. She felt it not only with her ears, but with her whole body. She realized then that wisdom does not announce itself. It waits. It speaks quietly, and only to those who are willing to slow down enough to listen. She stayed there for a while, watching the water fall, watching the colors shift and fade. Time loosened its grip. Eventually, she stood. The forest behind her remained still, complete without her presence. The cloud path appeared once more at the edge of the island. It did not hurry her. She stepped onto it, leaving the sound of water behind, carrying its rhythm with her as she moved onward toward the next island, waiting in the quiet sky. The cloud path stretched ahead of her, wide and patient. It carried her forward without effort, without sound. Below, the clouds shifted slowly, their surfaces catching faint reflections, from stars above. They moved like a quiet ocean, rising and falling in a rhythm too slow to measure. She felt suspended, not falling, not floating, held. The next islands appeared farther apart now. Larger spaces opened between them, more sky, more silence. She welcomed it. As she walked, her thoughts drifted naturally, unattached. They came and went, like the clouds below, never lingering long enough to weigh her down. Ahead, several islands hovered together, forming a loose circle. Each one felt different, not in appearance alone, but in presence. She stepped onto the nearest. This island was a garden, not carefully arranged, not symmetrical, wild yet gentle. Flowers grew in slow clusters, their petals glowing softly in shades of white and pale gold. Some opened fully, others remained half closed, as if content to wait. The air here was warm, carrying the scent of earth and bloom. She walked between the flowers, careful where she stepped, though she sensed they would not be harmed by her presence. Tiny insects drifted through the air, their wings emitting faint points of light. They moved lazily, unconcerned with direction. She paused beside a tall flower, its petals curved inward like open hands. As she watched, it swayed gently, responding to her breath. She felt a quiet understanding rise within her, that growth does not rush, and that unfolding happens in its own time. She moved on. The next island felt cooler. Smooth stone paths wound across its surface, leading to nothing in particular. No buildings, no signs, only paths. She followed one slowly. Her footsteps echoed faintly, then faded. She noticed how the stone retained warmth from earlier light, how even stillness here felt intentional. At the center of the island, she stopped. Nothing happened, and yet it felt complete. She realized then that not every place exists to offer answers. Some exist simply to allow space. The next island was smaller, nearly bare. A single tree stood at its center. Its branches stretched upward, reaching into open sky. Its leaves glowed faintly, each one catching a fragment of starlight. She approached slowly. The tree did not move. It did not respond. It simply stood. She placed her hand against its trunk. It was warm, solid. She felt steadiness flow into her, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but reassuring. She thought of roots, hidden, unseen, holding. She understood that much of what supports life exists quietly beneath the surface, unnoticed yet essential. She stepped back. The tree remained unchanged, complete without acknowledgement. One by one, she left the small cluster of islands behind. The cloud path extended onward, long and uninterrupted. The sky darkened slightly, the stars growing softer, as though the night itself were beginning to rest. She felt no tiredness in her body, yet a calm heaviness settled into her thoughts, the kind that invites stillness rather than sleep. She slowed her steps. There was no need to arrive anywhere. Each moment along the path was enough. With every breath, she felt more deeply the quiet truth that had followed her from island to island, that life does not ask to be hurried, that meaning reveals itself in attention, that being present is already a form of arrival. Ahead, in the far distance, a soft, golden glow waited. She did not move toward it quickly. She allowed the path to carry her at its own pace, supported by clouds, wrapped in silence, held gently between sky and star. The golden glow grew slowly brighter as she approached. It was not harsh or glaring. It simply existed, steady and warm. As she stepped closer, she realized that this island was unlike any she had visited. There were no trees, no cottages, no paths, no flowers, only light. A soft, enveloping glow that filled the space completely, touching everything without distinction. She stepped onto the island carefully, letting her feet feel the warmth beneath them. It was comfortable, neither hot nor cold, just present. She sat down in the center. The golden light flowed over her, tracing gentle lines across her arms and face, filling her chest with a quiet warmth that seemed to resonate with her heartbeat. Here, there were no distractions, no small details to notice, no lessons to learn, nothing to do. She simply existed, and in this existence, she felt the deep calm that comes when all seeking ceases. She thought of the islands she had already visited, the small village, the forest with its glowing birds, the waterfall, the wild garden, the stone paths, the solitary tree. Each one had taught her something: patience, attention, wonder, kindness, gratitude. And now, in the stillness of the Golden Island, she realized something deeper, that the world itself carries us, that life unfolds quietly, even when we are not forcing it, that beauty exists even in moments of silence. She leaned back on the warm ground, letting the glow envelop her fully. She felt herself becoming lighter, not floating exactly, but gently expanded, like her being was stretching to match the sky. The stars above twinkled faintly, as if acknowledging her presence. The wind whispered softly across the island, not carrying anything with it, just existing. She noticed that even the absence of sound had its own kind of music. She closed her eyes. Images from the islands she had passed flickered through her mind. The child sketching in the village, the forest leaf vibrating beneath her fingertips, the rainbow of water droplets, the petals opening slowly in the garden. She realized how each moment had been a small thread woven into the tapestry of her journey. Not one of them demanded to be remembered. None tried to impress. They simply were, and in their being they had taught her that life is always sufficient, always complete, if we are willing to pay attention and allow ourselves to be present. The light around her pulsed gently, not in rhythm with her heartbeat, but in its own independent rhythm. It reminded her that the universe carries its own pace, and that being in alignment is not the goal, only presence itself. She breathed in, she breathed out. The golden glow shifted slightly, casting subtle shapes on the clouds beneath. She let her thoughts drift. No urgency, no striving, just observation. She thought about time, not as hours or minutes, but as a continuum of experiences, moments flowing into one another, each containing its own quiet lesson. She reflected on trust, on allowing things to unfold without interference, on knowing that growth, change, and understanding happen naturally if we provide space. A gentle warmth rose in her chest. She realized that the quiet light of the island was more than comfort. It was knowledge, unspoken and soft. A lesson whispered without words, that all things are connected, that life carries us when we are patient, that attention and love always leave a trace. She sat there for a long while, letting the golden light and soft warmth fill every part of her. Time seemed to slow. Minutes stretched into something unmeasurable. The wind outside had softened. Even the distant stars seemed still. She felt a deep calm settle over her, and in that calm she understood that the journey itself was not about reaching the end. It was about noticing, being present, and allowing life to unfold quietly around and within her. Eventually, she leaned back fully, her body supported by the soft, glowing ground. She allowed herself to drift, not hurriedly, not reluctantly, but gently, wrapped in light, held by the quiet heartbeat of the sky, suspended between clouds and stars. She let herself rest, trusting entirely that the world would continue to hold her, and with each breath, each moment of quiet attention, she felt herself carried deeper into gentle, infinite calm. The golden island held her completely, yet she knew the path of clouds would continue beyond it, stretching far into the quiet night. She opened her eyes slowly, allowing the gentle glow to fill her vision. It was soft, not dazzling, comforting. She felt the air move lightly around her, the whisper of the unseen wind carrying subtle hints of the islands she had left behind. For a moment she thought about the child in the village, about the leaf in the forest that had vibrated beneath her hand, about the waterfall and its rainbow droplets, about the wild garden and its slow, careful growth, and the solitary tree standing quietly, holding the sky in its branches. All of it, the islands, the clouds, the creatures, the flowers, had been lessons in their own quiet way. She realized that the world is made not of grand gestures, but of subtle, persistent threads. Attention, patience, curiosity, and the gentle acts that carry life forward. She felt the warmth of the golden light deepen, spreading softly through her chest, flowing into her arms, saturating her thoughts. It was more than comfort, it was understanding. A quiet knowing that life unfolds as it should if we are willing to notice, to be present, to allow ourselves to be carried gently by its rhythms. She leaned back fully against the soft, glowing ground. Her body felt heavy and light at the same time. Her mind, usually restless, now moved in slow, quiet circles. The stars above continued their gentle shimmer, reflected faintly in the clouds beneath her. She thought about trust, not as a word, but as a sensation, the quiet belief that the world can carry her, even when she does not see the next step. She thought about time, not the ticking of hours or minutes, but the soft unfolding of each moment into the next. Each one complete, each one sufficient. The hum of the islands, soft and continuous, wove itself into her breathing. It pulsed gently in her chest, matching her heartbeat without demanding attention, and she understood. The quiet magic she had been seeking was never something to find outside herself. It was in noticing, in pausing, in allowing life to be as it is. She felt gratitude rise softly, not as an obligation, but as a natural response to presence itself, to being alive, to being here, to having seen what she had seen and felt what she had felt. Slowly she closed her eyes completely. The golden light embraced her fully, flowing through her mind, her body, her heart. She let herself drift, not into worry, not into thought, only into the stillness that carried her effortlessly. She reflected gently on the journey, each island, each small lesson, each moment of calm had led her here, to understanding, to trust, to the quiet realization that life, in its most subtle way, always carries those who pay attention. The wind softened, the stars seemed to lean closer. Even the clouds beneath her shifted gently, as if to cradle her as she rested. Her breathing slowed, her thoughts slowed. Everything was exactly as it should be. Wrapped in gentle light, supported by unseen paths, she let herself sink fully into peace. She felt carried, not by effort, not by expectation, but by the quiet heartbeat of the world itself. And as sleep arrived, she understood this final truth, that wonder exists everywhere, that small acts matter, that life moves in rhythms beyond our control, and that simply being present allows us to experience its quiet magic. The golden glow dimmed softly, not disappearing, but settling into a gentle pulse. The islands around her, the clouds below, the stars above, all continued quietly, and she slept, calm, held, carried, and the sky continued to hum, softly, endlessly, as if whispering to every being who would listen. Life is patient. Life is gentle. Life holds you